Just a quick roundup on the latest rumors and news in the camera world. So Canon has announced that they're celebrating production of more than 150 million interchangeable lenses, but I haven't been able to find any evidence that they actually did celebrate. I suspect, I did read the whole article by the way, and it was a long article, but there was no evidence of any celebrations. I suspect the marketing department celebrated by writing this article, and the Canon staff celebrated by reading the internal mail with the content of this article. That aside, I came across this survey, which is based on people that took part in a film festival, a Sundance non-fiction premiere. And this guy has written about a survey where they wanted to find out how many people used which cameras and which lenses. And it looks like Canon was first, and then Sony, and then Red cameras. But what was interesting was that over 50% of lenses were Canon lenses. So I suspect that's because of the popularity of the EF mount and its compatibility with all of the other cameras, either directly or indirectly using a converter. And then Canon Rumors reported that the spec, or the rumored spec of the C50, which is the super 35mm 4K sensor, no IBIS, RF mount. So I think that's the interesting thing, that it has an RF mount. And another interesting thing is that it has the smaller batteries, which fit on the side of the actual camera. So I think this website has a little bit more information. So that's actually the C50 body, and that's where the battery fits in on the side. So this is the box camera that's been rumored for some time now. And apparently it's supposed to take 2 batteries, so maybe there's one on the other side. And apparently it's going to cost around $3,000 US. Again, Canon Rumors reported that there will be a continuation of the EF-M mount by Canon, but apparently they're pivoting to a new direction. I'm not sure what that exactly means, but it might mean that they're focusing this camera on vlogging as opposed to pictures, which would make sense because anyone who wants to take pictures just uses their mobile phone nowadays. And I wanted to mention the Alice camera. So this is a camera which is supposed to work with your smartphone. So it doesn't have a screen or a viewfinder, but it apparently connects to your phone via Wi-Fi, and it has an interchangeable lens. The sensor size will be a Micro Four Thirds sensor, and it will be produced by Sony, and it will have around 11 megapixels. So it's going to be 11 megapixels. It's going to produce 4K video without cropping. And that's all we know about this camera. So they've announced the launch date for the camera, where you can actually go and pay a small amount to be included in the first batch of cameras that they do create.
The launch date of our Indiegogo campaign will be Tuesday, the 9th of February 2021, and will only last 30 days. We'll only be producing a small batch of units this year.
There was also some rumors about Sony creating an 8K Micro Four Thirds sensor. And according to this website, they suspect it will be for the Panasonic GH6. But there's no details about whether they have actually any information about this, or whether it could be for an Olympus camera, or whether it could be for maybe for an industrial type of application. So it doesn't necessarily need to be for a mirrorless camera that would be produced for consumers. And here's a list of the Sony Micro Four Thirds sensors. So there's a bunch of them that are already in use, I suspect, by Panasonic, and a few of them that are up and coming. Nikon has discontinued production of a few insignificant items. I don't even know why this is news, but some extension cord, some remote cord, the magnifier for the viewfinder, and a power assist pack for a flash. So I mean, these are insignificant items, and I suspect Nikon just wanted to streamline their business and cut down on any cost and any things they don't actually make a real profit on. So typically the extension cords on these type of equipment, third-party manufacturers produce them at a substantially lower cost. So Nikon probably doesn't sell many of these anyway, and it's more of a headache for them. And Nikon also confirmed that it's closing 2 factories in Japan, which again aligns with their goals of wanting to reduce the operational costs by 59%. I think the timeline for this was sometime in 2022, if I remember correctly. And are also moving 108 of their employees from one factory to another factory in a different city. I mean, it's not clear whether the 108 employees will actually relocate or whether they will just leave the company. But Nikon is making that option available to them, which is good because it means the in-house knowledge will stay in the company. Also, I thought it was worth mentioning that Nikon has this film festival, and the closing date of the participation will be on the 17th of February. So if you're interested and you're a Nikon shooter, it might be worth looking into this. Also, I wanted to mention the Octopus Cinema camera. So this is an 8K camera, but what's interesting about this camera is that it's powered by Linux, and you can actually swap parts of it out. So you can change this board, which will have, the processing power and all the different connections. So in theory, you should be able to just view this camera like Lego pieces and take parts of it out. So for example, if that board wasn't fast enough or didn't have the right connections, you should be able to plug it in with a different board. And also the same thing goes for the sensor. So if you go to this website for Zimia, that are actually the producers of the sensor, you'll see that they have a bunch of other sensors that you can just purchase. So in theory, you should be able to mix and match different parts of the system to suit the type of shooting that you would need to do. I don't know how well that works out in real life, but it's an interesting concept, and it's a concept where PCs actually took off first. So the nice thing about PCs was that you could just swap bits of it out, upgrade it without having to upgrade the whole system. So it's an interesting concept. I think it depending on the price and the practicality, it might be something that takes off in the future. And then there was some report by CIPA that the main thing about the report was that it said that people are buying less cameras. So that was the biggest news. But also it was reported that mirrorless cameras or interchangeable lens mirrorless cameras are outselling DSLRs, which is something that I think everyone expected or have been expecting for the last few years. The trend has been in that direction for the last few years anyway. CIPA stands for Camera and Imaging Product Association. It's based in Japan, and it succeeds the Japan Camera Industry Association. And if we look at the report, this is not digital cameras. This is the graph that you're looking at right now is interchangeable lens digital cameras. So every year the total quantity of shipped cameras has been less, and it continues to decline. I think there's different ways of interpreting what this means. Maybe all the cameras that we've purchased in the last 10 years or so have been so good that people don't feel like they need to upgrade their cameras. our mobile phones can do a lot of the work that we do with cameras anyway. So is it really worth buying a interchangeable lens camera? That's the roundup for this week.